obviously working with and knowing Slug and his way he thinks so well with beats for like Eventide or even Dotted Lines, knowing what the songs ended up becoming, are you going in like, oh, I know what he's going to say on this type of thing? Or is it more, oh, I want to bring this out of him? Or is it just, let me just make some great beats? Like, how is it for you at this point?
At this point, it's funny because I never have to worry about the words or the concepts. It's not even I don't, at this point, that's not even, we don't have to even talk about that really. Every now and then, just for whatever reason. But mine is always like approach, like making, like whether or not the music is dramatic or whatever the case may be, or if there's too much shit in there or not enough, whatever, as long as he sounds like he's made to be there, that's my real job, you know, to make sure it sounds like he belongs in that piece of music. And that's how I look at that. And it just so happens that I don't have to think about so many other things no more, because he does all that stuff. You know, he's really good at all that. But sometimes I'll be like, oh man, you know, that word right there, watch out for that one. Let's maybe you could get rid of that. And there might be multiple reasons. Who knows?
It's so tight when he does that too, because you know, probably due to my constant sparring between my insecurity and my overconfidence and how they actually work together and probably are the same thing. He's the first person that gets to hear these words after me. You know, I'm all by myself when I write them. When you're by yourself, you could be as vulnerable as you want because there's nobody there. You could say whatever is on your mind. There's nobody in the room with you. He's the first person that actually hears those things that I say when I'm talking to myself. And so when he's like, yo, you should get rid of that word, I'm always like, nuh-uh. You know, I can feel myself every time. I feel myself being like, no, that's supposed to be there. I guarantee you within 7 days that word will be gone. It always is like, because he's always right. And I always go, and after I get over the overconfidence and the insecurity and actually look at it, I'm like, man, there's a better way to say that. And it always ends up pushing me, whether or not he realizes it, it always ends up pushing me to maybe say that line in a way I could still present the idea, but say that line in a way that's tighter. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the ultimate goal, is to just say what you got to say in the freshest way possible, but also most original, most genuine, you know, to be honest, like that's our job, you know. And so whatever it is you got to say, that's what changes amongst us. We all got different shit to say, but as long as you're doing your job, sound fresh, be original, and you know, believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the 3 rules. And so when he says he doesn't have to worry about my words or my concept, I take that as a huge compliment, because now I know, okay, I'm a horn player and I got to figure out how to attack this music, because he's going to call me out if my attack is wrong. I could get in there as a horn player and go at it wrong, and he's going to be like, nah, don't do that. Slow it down, do this or do that. You know what I mean? And so if he's tuning into that, and then he still has the capacity to be like, hey, you should change that line. It's like, come on, man, who has a producer like that? Like, it's pretty tight. we have a pretty tight relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's clear at this point. I'm sorry, Ant, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, yeah. And it's the same way with the music. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be like, yeah, like he said before, he used to arrange it a little different maybe than when I would give it to him. And that's changed a lot lately, but that doesn't mean it won't come back around. Or he'll be like, hey man, can we try some different drums on there or something like that, you know? So it is a two-way street, you know. It's not like anybody's over there dictating each other, you know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's funny enough that at one point we started, because of the carryover that was going on, the little bit of instruction I was maybe giving to his job and the instruction he was giving to mine, we started just saying written and produced by Atmosphere. We stopped saying written by Slug and produced by Ant, because it just sounds cool, because Prince used to say that on the back of his records. It would just be like written and produced by Prince. There'd be like 500 people on this record, but he was the one that did all of it. So tight. So tight.
I played that tambourine. No.
Yeah, every piece, man. He's like, yeah, I came back in and replayed everybody's parts. We're gonna put it out. It's like so tight.
Yeah, but that also too, it's interesting because as I've thought about with a lot of your guys' music, and then again with this album with Eventide and Dotted Lines in particular, talking about keeping the feelings inside and not knowing what to say. So, Slug, you seemingly always are struggling with what to say, but yet you've put out so many things where you're saying so much. Where does that inner struggle, like what is that like for you? Because it presents itself often in your music.
It's interesting. I think that you know, we're all working with kind of like ideas of who we are. You know, you have a self-image, you have what you see in your reflection or when you reflect, but you will never see what other people see or hear when you talk. So just from based on your question, what I think I'm hearing is that you know, there is the part of me that does struggle with words is real. It's kind of who I am actually when I'm talking about things that are really important to me. But when I'm writing them or when I'm rapping them, when I'm recording them, it actually comes out of me better, smoother, you know, again, going back to fresher and original. And you know what I'm saying? It's like there's something about the fact that I'm able to process and talk about these things in songs that I think actually allows me to really articulate it better than I would in real time, you know. Not that I'm a horrible talker in real time, but there is a difference. And I do oftentimes I don't know how to word it, but like in real space, I have to like hear myself say it sometimes to know whether I'm saying it correctly. Whereas when I'm making it rhyme, it's kind of like, I don't know, that's my bag, that's my lane, and I'm all alone. I'm not doing this in front of anybody else. Again, like I do think that recording myself has had a huge impact on my writing, and just even the things that I will say. When I had to go and before, you know, I'd have to go let some engineer hear me rapping. And I think that even that ended up possibly having more, you know, and that's how I recorded everything all the way up until like 2017 was in front of other people. And that's a different vibe. And I'm not saying it's worse, but it's different. I know now in my writing, I feel like, whoa, I said that, and I think I'm going to keep that, and I'll show that to Ant later. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a different thing, and so I think that I'm more articulate on tape than I am in person. I'm sorry that I said all that just to say something so simple. I could have just went straight to the punchline.
Well, in 2017, why did you make that change, Slug?
Oh, because it just was kind of like, because everybody was like, I can't believe you're not self-recording. Like all of my friends had been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the last rapper I knew that if you asked me for a feature, I'd have to be like, hold up, let me see if I can book some studio time. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody had figured out how to create home situations. And so it was just time. It was time for me to figure that out, you know?
Okay. Gotcha. Now, Ant, I was intrigued as we get into the album a little bit with In My Head. The beat on there in particular, to me, had a very different type of swing and feel, even compared to the rest of the up to that point in the album. So many other realities exist simultaneously. That one seemed the most, you know, Eventide seems kind of dusted, but that one seemed like it's from a different era. Uh, so musically, when you're doing something like that that sounds current but also nostalgic in a way, as a producer, what do you get out of that? What does that bring to you? Why do you do it?
You know, it took me a second to remember what song In My Head was. I'm not, like the titles are really, at this point, you know, when I was younger, I cared about titles a lot more. Nowadays, I don't even remember. I just call them whatever beat they used to be called when I first named it. But in my head is the abduction joint, right? Slug.
Yep.
That's the thing with that one was it was based on, there's kind of a sample kind of, but I have some players that play instruments with me. Shout out G Coop. And that was kind of like there's like these little organ drums. I don't know how else to say it. Like they're like little Casio drums, and they're there, and then the piano is kind of bugged out. And so those two things make the groove kind of just swing in a certain kind of way. It's not necessarily that I am doing something with an intent. It's just happening. You know what I mean? By the way the guys are playing, the way the drums are just landing, there's not a whole bunch of like intent to make it do what it's doing. It's just happening,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. But
I like that one. It was fun, and it's interesting one to do.
Yeah, it definitely stood out for me for those reasons. And then Slug, from the songwriting perspective of imagining both the devil and God as a woman, why did you want to present it that way?
Oh, in my head?
Mm-hmm. When you're like, I can hear the devil singing, what does she tell me? And then you also talk about God being a woman.
Yeah. I think that just kind of happened. I don't know that I was actually, I don't know that was, it just is how it came out. So it was a keeper. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't think I was like, oh, make sure you communicate this part. You know what I'm saying? Like here the song itself and what that song is about, I do feel like was, it's the supernatural possibly to some people is how they say it. To other people, it's science. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like the song itself is like, it's a touchier song than it sounds like. It sounds kind of quirky and fun. And I don't know, maybe fun's not the right word, but there's a quirkiness to the song that I think kind of helps shield the serious undertones of what that song is about, And so I think that maybe I probably chose to personify, God as a woman in there as a Easter egg to the fact that I've done that before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, why confuse everybody now and misgender God? Like, fuck, I've been calling God a woman since 2000.
It's been a while.
Can I say something about that song? I've always been wanting to write this song. Like, this is a song that I've had on my mind for a long time and just never really sat down to write it because I just never had the reason to until Ant provided this beat. And when he did, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if you've heard the song. If you ever hear it again, if you can remember to think about Scooby-Doo while you're listening to that song, because there's like a noise that when I hear it, it brought me to this like it's things are supposed to be kind of spooky, but not really, because it's a cartoon. It's not that scary. In fact, there's probably people behind the monster. You kind of a vibe, and that's when I was like, oh, I finally found my excuse to write that song. And then the challenge was, how do I write that song to this kind of beat? Because the beat's got kind of a move to it, it almost is like, I don't know what to call it, but it's almost,
it has a swing. It's a swing.
It's stepping into another world. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm really super happy that song came out the way it did, because I just never could have imagined, even the reason I never wrote this song yet was because there was no way there was ever going to be an excuse to write this song. You know what I'm saying? And so for this beat to have come up and be like, what? Like, that was tight to me. Like that was one of the really proud moments of me on this record, was that song in particular.
Yeah, because definitely when I heard the beat and then I started understanding what you were talking about, it definitely theoretically would not be in sync. Like it doesn't match. But the way it unfolds, I think it works so well, which is why it's so striking.
Yeah.
So just
and
curious.
That piano, it's like, oh man, it's like the 80s coming to life. That's the whole thing is tight. That song is dope. Sorry. All right.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.